Okay. Okay, we'll call this regular session to order, Wednesday, February 20th. The time is 7:22. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll open it up for visitor comments.
Only two. That was prior to me. Prior to me.
Yeah, Doug and I were the only ones on it.
Okay, well, anyway, so two of you. And at that charter revision process, there was a lot of debate. There's no obvious switch.
Yeah, Lucy, we can hear you a little bit better than that, so.
Doesn't say on.
There we go.
Backwards. All right. When was that? 2012? Yeah, 12. So 7 years ago, you guys had a long discussion and a long debate, and then you made proposals to our charter. And as my recollection is, those proposals were rejected by the citizens of St. Helens. Much of those proposals had to do with moving towards a city administrator form of government. Much of those proposals had to do with basically shifting more power, for lack of a better term again, to a city manager rather than a city administrator. And, this room was full. And then when it went to an election, it failed. I think that I've taken a look at, and I asked Kathy for the binder, but this binder doesn't have the charter in it because I was going to try and compare the charter to what you're proposing here in your administrative rules and procedures or whatever you're calling it. Anyway, my general impression is there appears to be a bit of a let's not change the charter, but let's do what we were trying to do in 2012. So I think you all need to really strongly look at what is being proposed. I think some of it is moving towards the city manager method without telling the people of St. Helens you're moving towards the city manager method. And if you go back to 2012 and read the minutes and read the testimony and read what was being proposed at that time, and then look at the election results from the citizens of St. Helens, I think you're going to have to, think about this a little bit more. So I'm not going to get into the specifics right now, and I don't know if it's specifically on the agenda to approve tonight. I hope it's not. But I think that some of this is a little bit of a slide towards the city manager form of government, and the voters rejected that 7 years ago. So that's my general comment. And I have, as I said, I haven't had a chance to, compare side by side the charter and what you're proposing here and some of the other stuff. So I'm talking at a little bit of an ignorance because I haven't done that analysis.
Just, Al, just to clarify, the council was neutral on that, and we, the council actually appointed a charter review committee.
You
And
mean
it
in
was the
2012?
Charter review committee's
In 2012, yeah.
recommendation
Okay.
to go to a city manager, and then it was the council's decision to take that to the voters,
Right.
and that happened prior to 2012. And I think 2012 was the revision and the wordsmithing, the charter, and I think this was a strong proponent of the mayor at that time, Randy Peterson, wanted to wordsmith the charter so it was better understood. And in 2012, that happened. And then the council approved what had happened. And then we had some governing policies drafted at that time as well.
So was there an election?
How we would.
As I recall, there was an election.
There was an election.
And as I recall, the
From-
election failed.
from the
The
charter.
first time.
Yes, from the charter review.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then the election passed on the
On just
revision,
the-
the wordsmithing.
The wordsmithing, but not a true change in the policy
You're exactly
towards a manager. Yeah, so basically, even though my recollection of the process isn't exact, my point is still the same.
Yeah, and then we had to figure out exactly then what each counselor would be, what each counselor would be challenged, and what responsibilities lied within each counselor. And
Right.
that was 2012 too, and that was our governing policy.
Right. Okay.
So that's just draft form yet. There's going to
Well,
be changes made to it.
I realize that, but
And actually,
that's my
us two
comments.
counselors that were on the council at the time are the reason it failed the first time, because we lobbied against it.
Well, I don't know anything. I don't remember that part. But anyway, I'm just making my comments based on what I read in the draft
Right.
today.
And it's still going to be a hybrid system of a commission form of government.
I would also, what we worked with today is what was last updated in 2008, and in 2012 the charter was approved. It didn't have anything to do with moving to a city manager, and none of the comments in that go to that place either. It's really updating what was adopted in 2008, updating it to 2012, and some kind of procedural things about meeting times that weren't accurate anymore, and then just putting that all together. It doesn't go any further than that. So.
Okay, other visitor comments. State your name for the record, please.
I'm Sean Land with ACSP and Orgrotech.
Peter Schill with Orgrotech and ACSP. Go ahead, Sean.
We just wanted to give City Council and staff that's here today as well, some of the city folks, an update on our project. First of all, thank you to the City Council for all the help and the overall opportunity we've had at the site. There's a lot of changes. I know some of you were there in the very beginning and saw the state of that site. Going out there today, it's a night and day difference. And going into the buildings themselves, not even recognizable. But thank you again to the City Council for that. And good to meet some of the new council, Steve and Ginny. It'd be great to have you guys out there as well, and any other council who wants to come out and do another visit. Give you a tour of the facility so you can see what we're doing and what the operation looks like, and hopefully clarify any questions or concerns with the project at all. Want to also give some thanks to some of the city staff. John and Jacob have been doing a lot of planning work, and this project was not easy, especially with the type of facility, the status of the buildings, the status of the site, and getting it into a functional business.
Condition of the buildings.
The condition of the buildings. It's been a lot of work. They've been instrumental in that. Also, Mike, our new inspector, he's been awesome to work with. We've been doing a lot of inspections, a lot of code assistance with how to get through a lot of this. You know, it's also been a lot of fire life safety involved with the project. Even with Neil and the city team, with some of the public works team they've done out there. You know, there's a lot of changes out there happening. And then even Chief Greenway helping test our new alarm system. From transients to squirrels, the alarm's gone up, you know, initially went off a couple of times early on. And then Becky, Heidi, Sue for all the permits, fees, business licensing, et cetera.
So those alarms go through the OLCC and right to us, basically,
They
or what?
don't go through the LLCC. They go through the fire department and then to the police department.
Okay.
Yeah, so the whole property is under 24/7 surveillance. It's 90 days of video, and it has off-site backup as well, and that's part of the OLCC requirement. So OLCC has access to any of that footage anytime they want, as well as our, you know, law enforcement if there's any action that needs to be taken, you know, with any activity. Luckily, we haven't had any since we've started operating there, and we are just about a couple of days, I think, from getting our final certificate of occupancy inspections.
Nice.
So the
Down to our last couple of permits that we need to fulfill. Thank you again, Jacob, because we have had quite a bit of hurdles to cross as far as the planning goes with the space provided, what kind of roadways we needed provided. It was literally, even though there was existing buildings out there, it was kind of like starting from scratch, especially with our scenario. You know, we learned we're the first to do a lot of these things. So there weren't codes already written. There weren't requirements already written. So as we kind of went through these hurdles, we almost kind of created some of the requirements, especially with Jeff Pritchard in the fire department. There weren't a lot of things written in stone, but we worked with Jeff and came to conclusions on what we needed to be properly safe for all the above, and we fulfilled all those requirements. And we're literally down to the last couple things on the list to get our final occupancy. So it has been a process, but definitely we could not have, you know, succeeded without the help of all the individuals here and Jeff Pritchard. He did held us to a high standard, and in the beginning we weren't too happy about it. Then we understood, though, you know, it was for our own means and liability, and what it came down to was really liability. So for us, you know, coming out of the trenches, and this is our first legal licensed operation going on, and we're totally into it to do everything by the book. We have full intentions to be here a long time and grow and employ many people. So with all those things being said, Jeff finally made his point known that, you know, we are doing these things for liability and longevity. So in the end, we were able to succeed with fulfilling all those requirements and literally down to our last few. So with that being said, we are starting our hiring process. We just started hiring individuals for our trimming and some of the other needs in the building, and we are open now to future type employees. So right now we're in a contracting type basis where we do have specific needs to fulfill these employment opportunities. So we start them as contractor basis until we see if they are able to fulfill what we need done, and then we make them into full-time employees. So that's literally where we're at right now, and we are open and out there and ready to start bringing people in and put them in the trenches and see how they do.
Yeah, we did, one of the first hires we made was Doug Knight, who retired from Safeway, and now he's our compliance manager for the site facility. He's there almost every day. And then we have some folks that others here would know that have started there and are beginning work and hopefully transition into full-time employment. Just a quick note, you know, that this is very regulated from seed all the way through sale and transfer to some of the retail establishments. And one of those steps is the lab testing of all the product that's out there. And it's very detailed lab testing of all the product. And the labs are super happy with the product, like they've never seen this stuff before, this good. And then we also, what we're in the queue for licensing is processing. And processing is taking that usable cannabis and taking it into oils that could be used into tinctures or turning it into other products. That's one of the licenses that we have in queue there. But it's also processing other farmers' products as well in the state. And one interesting thing to note is that there's very few processing labs in the state right now. And in California, when a processor processes product for a farmer, it's a 50-50 split, meaning if whatever's produced out of that processing, the farmer gets half of it, and for payment, the processor takes half of it, and then they both make money on that product. In this state, there's so few processors, the farmers are really getting taken advantage of right now. It's like a 70-30 split, 70 to the processor or 80% to the processor.
Wow.
So one of the things that, you know, we like to see fair business practice in the market as well. So that's, for us, it's exciting because we could come in and basically double the profitability for the farmers by giving them more fair processing. And it's because we have this opportunity at the site. And so that's the next phase of expansion, which will again be more jobs and opportunities for folks there and more licensing for the city. But so that's our next step. So we've got our first processor up and running, and we made our first sales today. And processing's next.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys are the biggest of this type of license, the biggest in Oregon?
Currently in the state of Oregon for indoor grow, so it goes by square foot of canopy.
Mm-hmm.
And so our license is 10,000 square foot canopy, and they base the size of your grow by how many lights you have hanging. So we have 156 lights hanging in our 10,000 square foot canopy, and currently in the state of Oregon, it's the largest indoor grow operation in the state. And this is just under our first license. We have 15 more licenses in the queue with the OLCC.
Mm-hmm.
And our next step is to go out in the land in front of the buildings that are existing, which is about a 3-acre parcel. And in that area, we think we can build approximately 4 more 10,000 square foot canopies. And that process, we hope to begin this summer with the planning and the engineering and starting that process. Right now, our next step is to get the producer going with the existing buildings behind where we're currently operating to turn that into the manufacturing where we can do the extraction.
So imagine now that you've been through this process with these other buildings, because they were probably a little more difficult than a newer building, but you probably have some insight as far as planning your future buildings of what you're going to require and what's going to be needed.
Not only in the planning and engineering, but all the way down to the subcontractors.
So I know you guys have been put through the ringer as far as, I mean, we have through planning commission to our inspectors to fire, Jeff Pritchard, they definitely, you have been held to a high standard,
Yes,
and you've met it. So I applaud you guys on that.
Thank you.
Yep.
A question, the bill of sale, I haven't seen the final bill of sale, and I know in December when the discussion was going on, there was still some other discussions. What was the final recorded date of sale for this facility?
The contract has still not been completed.
We still have not completed the contract.
Correct.
So when I look at the county's records, you still don't own the property, and the property still hasn't been partitioned for sale then, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So right now, basically, the city of St. Helens growing stuff, you're just doing the work for it. Is that correct?
No, we have an active lease. We've had the lease on the property.
You've got a signed lease. Okay. That I'm trying to track down paperwork.
Oh yeah, so that was a long-term lease, and the state took an LOI from the city for the.
So okay, the lease is between the city and you, so that you're using city property, and this lease is registered with the state.
Yeah, the properties. So the state the license is registered to that specific property. The license goes to the entity and the property. So if we were to move, for example, you'd have to basically submit
A new thing.
yeah,
And this license is with the state, not recorded with the county.
Correct.
right.
With the OLCC.
So right now, being that the ground is owned by the city, the county doesn't get any tax money. When it becomes your piece of property, then you've got to pay county taxes, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I think it depends on how that all happens. You know, a lot of that could be actual city-based taxes versus county.
As I say, when I look online at the county level, everything is still the city's.
Oh, right, yeah.
But it's still subject to, Cascades Tissue is also on the city property, so they're still subject to property tax.
Yeah, but as I say, there may be a different rate of tax for agro versus paper or whatever.
However, the assessor comes to
Yeah,
their
that's what I
magic.
mean.
Yeah.
But right now, the county doesn't know that they're there as a separate entity.
I don't know that. So.
At least online, they're not registered with the county. That's why I asked it. But you are registered with the state.
Yeah, so all the entities are registered with the state.
And as I remember, the state has to come in and inspect your crop just before it's harvested. So when their lab double checks you for pesticides, they know it actually comes from you.
The labs actually come out to our facility.
Yes.
After each harvest, and they're privately owned labs. They're not state-run labs. So it's private entities that actually come to the facility to inspect your harvest. They take samples, they take them back to the lab, and then they post everything into the metric system as being tested, and that's the point at which we're able to go out and sell.
Mm-hmm.
They're ORLAP, the labs are ORLAP certified, which is who regulates laboratories and testing.
One of the problems is the state made a big PR job about the state labs doing this to make sure everything was okay. And now you're telling me we have private labs, so we have as many times a skew between what the state advertises and what actually happens.
Yes. Yeah. And honestly, we would love it if the state came in to regulate the lab process. As we have discovered right off the bat, that there is quite the discrepancy from one lab to the next.
I've heard that.
Why would they want to do that? They were still able to collect $82 million on tax last year.
Yeah, it's better for them.
Even with the private guys, they still got that. So
Yeah. But, yeah, so if you have any questions for us, Pete is the Chief Operating Officer. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for the organizations.
So I did come down and Doug Knight showed me around. Cole was there that day, so you're basically just saying that people you're hiring them to see if they can do the required trimming is what they're mainly doing. That's what everybody starts out doing,
Exactly.
and not everybody can do it.
Exactly.
So
And then we are looking for individuals to work in the grow as well, but the grow is a labor-intensive job. There's heavy lifting, there's a lot of cleaning, there's a lot of bending over, so it's not for everybody.
sure.
And sometimes people just don't understand how labor-intensive it is. So we have to start everyone in a contractual basis.
And I think I seen probably 5 people working the other day.
We've had as many.
And it was the other guys,
14
contractors.
people so
14?
far.
Okay.
Yeah, there's 14, as many as 8 consecutively in the same work time frame.
Huh?
So we have 8 trim trim table jobs that can all trim at the same time. We have multiple jobs in the grows, and then some, administrative like Doug.
Yeah.
He's in that side of things.
He's right by the book. We had to sign in, sign out, and this
Yeah.
and that.
Yeah,
And,
it's very regulated.
yes,
Those-
and grab a name tag, and I was very impressed
On a
with.
lanyard.
Yeah, on a lanyard. Yep, and very impressed with the camera system that was everywhere. You were always on camera, so
Yes.
Yep.
That's how the OLCC basically regulates their site. They do not have enough manpower to send people actually out to check on facilities. And that's another issue the state is having. There's a lot of growers out there who are not licensed. And I've read in reports from sheriff's departments across the state, they don't know who is legal and who's not. And they're not really getting support from OLCC to state who is. Our scenario is a little different, being indoors, and we're not out in the open, and everything's on camera, so they're able to monitor that a lot more. The outdoor activity, as I'm sure everyone has read, the sun-grown product in the state is out of control. There's more product. They say there's enough sun-grown product in metric to last the next 3 years in the state.
Yeah.
Now, the labs are a great way for them to get through that product, turning the product into distillates and oils, which is then can be converted into so many other products and can go to many different factors, you know, through cartridges and tinctures and all the above. But right now, that is a problem your state is having. Now, our niche is the indoor market, and that's why we came here, and that's what our studies showed, that there was not enough indoor high-end flower grown, and that's the market we're encompassing.
That's good to know.
We do plan on being full
So
encompassed in our.
it's a big difference, the indoor versus the outdoor.
It's a
Two,
drastic
apples and oranges, basically.
Yes.
With your long-range business plan, 5 years from now, how many people will you employ?
We estimated anywhere from 12 to 15 people per license. So in this next phase of expansion where we can get 3 to 4 licensed buildings stood up and then get those operational, we're going to test the market at that point, but we think that's about all Oregon can handle.
Until
Oregon-
interstate commerce comes on.
And Oregon's already talking about the interstate
talking.
commerce with some of the legal states already, you know, almost making California, Colorado, Arizona, Nevada, those states be able to have interstate commerce. Federally, they're even saying it could be as soon as a year from now, or even within 2019. That's probably a little early. But once it goes interstate, we can still operate from this location, and our ability to grow, expand, and the cost of production, we can stay competitive nationally, because then it blows up. Now all hands are off as far as, you know, how many licenses we can actually incorporate, because now we got places to send it. The other thing that we're very much into, and some of you had conversations with us before, is we've been in the medical side of the business for 5 years in California. We have products and protocols I could send you a list if you want to see it, to where we're getting ready to go past observational trials and get into clinical trials. So we're putting together a physician-based team to actually take these products and protocols that we have out to clinical trial. With clinical trials and with medical level lab processing, we could actually get permits to send product to research facilities nationally and even internationally. So just as an example, there's a processor in Canada who got a permit from the FDA to import product into the United States from Canada, and they have it going to UC San Diego. UC San Diego's testing products that we've had in development and in use for 3 years already. So, and their product is, I mean, in my opinion, doesn't even compare. They don't have the protocol down. They don't have the product down. So we have a real opportunity in the research and medical side as well, because the product that we're growing is that high-end medical grade, even though it's recreationally licensed. So it's almost, if you're wine snobs, it's like Opus 1 versus the outdoor would be $2 Chuck from the store, you know?
So to answer your question, Councilor Doug, in 5 years, we can safely say we'll have easily 100 employees out there. Honestly, in 2 to 3 years, once we develop the next stage of canopy license out in front of our building, just from those 3 to 4 licenses needing 15 to 20 employees to run those facilities, plus the staff for accounts receivable, HR, and all the above, I would say in 3 years, we would safely have 100 employees out there. And then depending on where the market shifts and how things go, with the other land that we have available, you know, we'll have to make those decisions at that time of how to develop the rest of the land, depending on how the market is. But we do, in our forecast, our financial and business plan, rely on interstate commerce. knowing that this state can only handle so much product that we'll produce.
Have you started conversations with the FDA?
We have not.
That's part of the medical trial process. I'll get a lot further with the FDA with the physicians behind us around, formally organized group. So we similarly in Huntington Beach, we have. Well, this is off the record. So we have another research facility.
Ain't nothing off the record here.
I'm just kidding. But we have another research facility that we're putting together. So even without interstate transfer allowed, we can have the research both in Huntington Beach and in St. Helens. So that's already in process as well. So we're very serious around the medical side.
So I've been paying attention to a little bit of this, and I'm not trying to cut you guys short because we're on visitor comments, but I do find it fascinating that, that there are some bigger, first and foremost, when you look at it as a whole, it had this stigma around it for a long time. And when Canada has their own stores, their own governmental stores up there, pharmaceuticals been looking at it. Now tobacco's trying to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Keep your nose to the grind, stick to what you know, you do it well, and I'm sure you guys will succeed. You guys know, listening to you talk, you know your industry. So that's just somebody who doesn't know nothing watching from the outside. And there's going to be people that always shake their head and say, no, that's not ever going to happen. But we'll see. The federals already lifted up the CBD side of things, and nobody said, no, that would never happen. And it happened.
Right.
So it's going to happen. And there are going to be those naysayers that say it's never going to happen. Just let them go by the wayside. It is medicine for a lot of people. I got so much testimony when we started talking to you guys through our community about how they use CBD oils, smoke the herb with the 3% THC, no more than that, because the CBD seems to help activate the CBD. I mean, just all kinds of testimony from many different people throughout the community. So,
And it's a big, so there's a huge variance in quality of the medical side of things.
mhm.
And there's also a lot of fraud and customer,
Those guys will get weeded out.
they'll get weeded out.
Yep.
But there's, and I invite anybody who knows anybody, family, friends, that has a medical issue, if you reach out to me or Pete directly, we'll be glad to give you the education that you need or that they want to see if that's a good option for them. I mean, it's, you look at things even like the opioid epidemic nationally. We can get people who are reasonably addicted to opiates off of opiates in 2 weeks, comfortably with no recidivism. And it's through a non-addictive treatment. We can get people who have been going through cancer that want to do chemo and an alternative therapy like this. We can take through that. We take people who don't have, who don't want to do the chemo and take them through these therapies. So that's the exciting part for us. And so right now we're trying to work even with OHSU on getting that established relationship. But we really need to get the processing started for all that up here.
Yep. So I appreciate you guys showing up. And I will give you more time, but we're only supposed to give you 5 minutes, but the whole council engaged with you, so appreciate the report.
Appreciate
Thank
your
you.
time.
Yep.
Thank you again.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, other visitor comments? Not seeing any. I'm going to step out for a little bit. Councilor Morton, have you take over?
Okay, item number 4 on our agenda, ordinances, final reading. Ordinance number 3235, an ordinance vacating a portion of the North 8th Street, Spring Street, North 9th Street, Pacific Street, and Wyeth Street right-of-ways. There's a final reading.
Move we adopt ordinance number 3235.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt ordinance number 3235. Any discussion? Okay, by roll call, Keith,
Aye.
Ginny,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
and I. Okay, so motion passed 4-0. Award bid contract, number 5, award bid contract. A, backstop fencing replacement for 6th Street Park to Pacific Fence and Wire in the amount of $16,490.
Move we award bid contract as read.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we award bid contract backstop fencing replacement for 6th Street Park to Pacific Fence and Wire in the amount of $16,490. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That passed 4-0 as well. Number 6, approve and authorize for signature. A, request for full reconveyance cat loan payoff, 335 North 5th Street, Cachaturian. B, contract payments.
Just question here. Just wondering, do I need to recuse myself from 6A? Okay, thank you. I didn't think I did, so just wanted to make sure.
Say that again, Keith.
I just wanted to know if I needed to recuse myself from 6A or not.
And the answer to that is no. Okay.
So I move that we authorize for signature 6A and B.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve or authorize for signature 6A and B as read. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That vote is 4-0. 7, appointments to city boards and commissions. Do we have any tonight?
It is an appointment to the Arts and Cultural Commission, and her name is Carly Franklin.
So moved.
Second.
Is there a second? Okay. It's been moved and seconded that we appoint Carly Simon to the. I like Carly Simon. Let's get her in here. She can sing her way through here. It's arts and culture, isn't it? Carly who? Franklin. I like. Sing a song. Oh my heavens. Carly Franklin to the Arts and Cultural Commission.
Carly Simon was there. I'd go to the Arts and Cultural Commission.
Carly Franklin.
Moved and seconded.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. Consent agenda for acceptance. Library Board minutes dated January 14th, 2019. Parks and Trails Commission minutes dated January 14th, 2019. Planning Commission minutes dated January 8th, 2019.
Move we approve consent agenda for acceptance, items A, B, and C as read.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we consent agenda for acceptance 8A through C as read. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. Consent agenda for approval. Number 9, consent special sessions minutes dated January 29th and 30th, 2019. B, council work session, executive session, public forum, and regular session minutes dated February 6, 2019. C, OLCC licenses. D, accounts payable bill lists.
Move we approve consent agenda 9A through D.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we consent agenda for approval 9A through D. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. Mayor Scholl reports. I have nothing tonight, if I'm Mayor Scholl at this point. So Keith, do you have any?
Uh, no, I don't have anything else tonight either.
Nothing to report?
No.
No.
For your report.
Oh, we're already there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait. The guy wastes no time, and we had a guest in here, Carly Simon. She was wonderful.
Well, my report's not much different than earlier. Good job, Public Works, on the water event we had, the Water World, and thank you to the volunteers that showed up to do all the sandbagging. I know that we definitely saved some people's houses from flooding, and that's all I have to report. Oh, we got the boards and commissions meeting coming up. Banquet, when is that set for? April 10th. So mark your calendars. Okay. Council President Morton.
I have nothing to report tonight, other than I won't be here at our next scheduled council meeting.
Okay. Councilor Topaz? Nothing to report. Okay. Councilor Carlson?
Just one thing, just wanted to remind people, tomorrow is the happy hour for the Columbia County Port. Is that what it is? Columbia County
Yes.
Port, and it's going to be at Running Dog at 4.
Yep.
So it's a happy hour at 4 o'clock.
It's
for
the Chamber Happy
chamber.
Hour
the chamber, but
featuring
the
the
port.
Columbia County Port. Yep.
the port is the sponsor, the chamber is the marketer,
Yes.
and the snacks and beer are at Running Dog at 4 o'clock tomorrow.
That's correct.
That's all I have.
Okay. Councilor Locke.
I guess I'll just add that since ACSP offered, and I was going to offer anyway, that looks like I'm going to be in town through Friday. So, Steve, if you have time Friday noonish or whatever, I'd love to take you down to the mill and show you the whole place, not just their place, but the whole mill.
Hopefully I'll get with you.
Okay, and Jenny, if you're around, open to you too, whatever. So, anyway,
Okay.
that's it.
Youth Council Virtual.
The Youth Council discussed a couple things. As you most likely know already, the skate park's opening up in McCormick, and so we're looking to help with that any way we can because it impacts the youth. It's probably like the biggest. I don't know. It impacts the youth a lot, especially since it's a skate park. Another topic we discussed in light of the recreation program opening up recently, we briefly discussed other options for like expanded curriculums for kids to look into in their free, school, like after school activities. And that would be considered like stuff the school can offer. So if we talk to the school district, stuff they can offer, so like classes like auto shop and metal shop. And so we'd have to contact the school about that, but that was just a brief discussion. That's all I got.
Look forward to hearing more about that skate park. Okay. Department reports. Chief Greenway.
Nothing additional, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Sue?
I would just like to acknowledge Jacob. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I forgot Topaz.
Okay.
Councilor Topaz. I apologize.
No, he said he had nothing.
I started off with nothing.
That's-
Ended up with nothing.
Okay.
You had it. Anyway, I just wanted to acknowledge the time that Jacob put into the Riverfront Connector Plan, and I participated on the advisory committee, and I know Jacob put in a great deal of time and effort onto that program. So I just want to acknowledge his efforts on that. That's all I had. Thank you.
Yep.
I have nothing tonight.
Nothing. Margaret.
Come to Makerfest this
Yep.
Saturday at the library from 10 until 1. There'll be a lot of hands-on activities related to the maker movement.
Matt.
Just one quick thing for the council. The last meeting I asked if we wanted to move forward with an open forum for the recreation program, and asked Mayor Scholl had thrown out the date of Monday, March 25th. It's the Monday of spring break. That date is open at the rec center, and it is available on the Scott Stockwell's calendar to come out and be available. as well if we want to do an open forum on that night to talk about the recreation program and its future and possibly funding it. So if the city council would like to, I can start working on that and getting that set up if March 25th works for you all.
You mean at the building, right?
At the rec center building, yes.
So like an open house, ribbon cutting, couple of statements?
This is a discussion with the city, with the community regarding the funding. So the budget committee approved a $2 utility bill fee to be put on for the recreation program for funding. The city council decided that they weren't 100% sure if that was the correct way to go, and they wanted to receive some community feedback about the program and the thoughts on adding another fee or how to possibly fund that program in a different way. So that was the purpose of this forum, is more than informational from the community to get their feedback.
I think it's definitely worth looking into. Yes, absolutely. Because we're coming up on another budget cycle, and we need to have done that. So
yeah,
we'll find out, yay or nay. We'll see. Huh?
Okay.
Yep. Kathy. Nothing. John.
Just a little bit more about the connector plan, what that kind of means to the overall transportation component of getting people to the highway. We started with the Gateway project, and we designed the improvements to come down to the waterfront and down. Now we're going to and through the site and back up to the highway up Plymouth and making some improvements there. And it's it's not perfect. There's some little tweaks and things I think still, but overall we've worked on it, and I think it's a good thing to we're getting close on a design which just kind of embraces the aesthetics, the functionality, the for a vision for the future. So that's it.
Okay. So I'm trying to. It's next Monday. Is our at the library is the celebration of the 130 years. So please come out and join us on that. I do believe it is next Monday, right? I'm supposed to be speaking. And 6 o'clock.
5:30 they open the door.
5:30 they open the door. 6 o'clock. So, okay. With that, we're adjourned. Councilor Morton. Hold on, I got